So I'm here with my friend Wasili, and we were just discussing how we met. It was definitely through the ICF,
Yeah,
and we think it was Budapest or somewhere
yeah, a little bit earlier, I think. But
Okay.
yeah, one of those European leadership meetings. Yeah, yeah,
And had a lovely chance to meet him again a few weeks ago in Prague at ICF Converge.
yeah, yeah.
And Wasili has always impressed me with his thinking about I guess it's beyond coaching for coaching's sake.
Hmm.
You always seem to be able to give a broader emphasis on your work.
Yeah.
I love the film that you did about climate change, for example.
All right. Yeah.
And we're here today to talk about your new book.
Yes, here it is.
Cool. And that's, I guess, the title in itself is very thought-provoking. So
Yeah.
I'd love you to just tell us about it.
All right. Well, first of all, I've written this book. It's called Happiness is Depressing: Understanding and Changing the Inner Landscape of Depression. It's not, at first glance, you could say, well, that's something really negative. On the other hand, it's actually exactly describing what people who can develop a dark mindset actually experience.
Mm.
So I wanted to stay as close as possible to the actual experience of having depressive feelings and thoughts. As you mentioned, I always take coaching to a bigger perspective because I believe, for me as a person, as an individual, I want to contribute to the really important issues in society. Mm-hmm. So of course I want to coach all kinds of different people who are into performance and, whatever you do, what you do as a coach. But I also want to contribute all the knowledge and expertise I have to the really big issues in society. So I actually started to have a look at what depression is, what we know about it, what I know about it, and how coaching as an approach, as a methodology, can actually deliver some really interesting results in working with depressive clients.
So, sorry to interrupt, but is your book specifically for coaches or is it for anybody?
Well, it has two target groups: people with depressive thoughts, because it's actually a coaching program for people with depressive thoughts. There's exercises in there, step-by-step exercises. I guide people through exercises as if they are coached. Mm. But at the same time, the content on a more abstract level is written for coaches.
Okay.
And for therapists to actually get into this. So what is depression actually, if you look at it from a more solution-focused approach? Yeah.
So as you're talking, it's making me wonder where this line is between working with people with depressive thoughts and referring them on. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, of course I have, because I've been researching this for 10 years. I've talked with many psychiatrists, and the interesting thing is many psychiatrists, actually I've got a handful of them who actually completely support what I've written.
Okay.
So the interesting thing is, when we think about depression, we have all these assumptions in mind. And because of these assumptions, especially the coaching profession, people react with fear. They're going to go, oh my God, depression.
I can't deal with it.
No, because we have assumptions. And that's one of the things that I actually discuss in my book. Because there are 5 fundamental assumptions that everybody makes, not just coaches, but also therapists, anybody. And I started to discuss these assumptions, and I just want how true are they actually? Because there are assumptions. So first of all, one of the first assumptions is that depression is a disease. Mm. But that assumption comes from the medical perspective. But there are many things to say about what depression is. But from a medical perspective, the cause of the problem is in the brain. But if you look at it from a little bit different perspective, from more of a coaching perspective, you could say, so how does somebody get depressed? What are the triggers? We can analyze that. It's not that is can be challenging, but we can analyze that. And I have. So I've discovered. I've actually looked at 3 causes that actually trigger depression. And the interesting thing is, I see that with all my depressed clients. But to come back to your question, when you refer somebody on, well, you have this, on one end, you have, let's say, I want to jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Depression.
Yeah.
On the other hand, a very subtle form of depression is, I'm chronically dissatisfied with my life, with my relationships, and that is also already in the domain of depression. But we don't call it clinically depressed, but when you look at it, it's actually already in that domain. And that means that from here to here, many coaches are already working with depressive clients.
Probably most coaches.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Silly, I know that we've got a limited time today, so I would love it if you had a kind of one of your exercises or something simple that you could share with us to work with, perhaps.
All right. I can give you
not to just land you in it.
I can do both. I can do both. There we go, because I don't want to make that choice because they're both interesting. Well, one of the things, I call my book Happiness is Depressing, which is a funky title, but what it actually says is that, what I'm actually referring to is that in our pursuit of happiness, in any form, we don't have to say, how many people actually on a daily basis say, I just want to be happy. So, you kind of get clients who say, oh, so what do you want? I just want to be happy. But the thing with that whole, let's say, framing, languaging of it, what you're actually saying, I want to be, as a matter of fact, in a continuous state of contentment. But if you listen at the languaging, there's no such thing in our lives that is as a matter of fact. Nor are we in any continuous state of anything. So actually, by giving ourselves that framing, we're actually setting ourselves up for a goal that's unachievable. So what I'm trying to say here is that people with depressive thoughts actually create a lot of outcomes that are not related to what's really going on with them. And that disappointment, to be on the disappointment part, actually increases the disappointment and increases the darkness that a person experiences. So I map out in my book how that process works and what a more interesting thing is to do. And one of the things because I'm very much into linguistics and one of the things that I really looked at the definitions of depression and happiness. And happiness has a subtle side definition. And the subtle side definition of happiness is luck. Luck, like muzzle, like oh, you find 5 pounds on the street and you kind of go, oh, yeah, I'm a lucky person, So, but the interesting thing is, all my depressed clients have the opposite of that. They actually experience bad luck. This works against me, so-and-so relationship doesn't work, I can't do it at school or university, my job sucks, whatever. Nothing works for me, it only works against me. So I started to explore this idea of luck. So what would happen in a person's mind if I can actually enforce the state of luck? So not of happiness, but the state of luck.
Like a mind shift,
yes.
A mindset shift.
Yes. So, and this is one area of the whole process because it's a couple of areas. So I actually started to work on this idea. So to get back resources of luck. So there are 3 kinds of luck that I defined. So first you have everyday luck, like you find 5 pounds, yeah? The second is you have luck, which, like, for example, like you want to buy shoes and you find them in the cheap somewhere. You forgot about them, kind of, am I lucky? They're in the sale now, which is a different kind of luck. And the third is adversarial luck, where you kind of go, I have a really bad experience, but when I look back in hindsight, that actually put my life on a path so it was actually a lucky experience.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
The life lessons type stuff.
Exactly. So what I do with my clients, I make an inventory of all these 3 kinds of luck. So, for example, I say, just go to everyday luck. Have you ever found 5 pounds or something? Yeah, I found this and that. So every experience, I actually visualize that experience, and then I go to the extraordinary luck, where you kind of go. So I went to this party, never expected it, and I met my wife. My future wife. Am I a lucky guy?
Yeah.
So, and the and I gather those experiences. And the last one is adversarial luck, where I kind of go, so what you thought was bad luck would actually turn out to be good luck in hindsight. You know, like people getting ill and then they change their lives, or, you know, all that kind of, those experiences. And I visualize all these experiences. And through a certain process, I actually make a mental representation of all these experiences combined. And in the process, which is in the book, by the way, in the process, people get into the state of having luck. So they will start to experience that luck will happen again.
Boost the serotonin and everything.
Of course, because we change the state. We change the state because I get all these reference experiences out. So what happens is that suddenly, I've had quite a few demos. It's a shame that I can't show you right here, but I have had quite a few demos where I do this with a client. And I've never met the person, for example, in a presentation or something. And then suddenly, in this process, the person says, has somebody turned on the light? Because you got to imagine, in depression, there's less light in the person's inner landscape. And when I do this process, it is as if there's more light on the inside of the person's experience, which is for me always a magical moment. And then the languaging starts to change of the person. They actually start to talk about future experiences that they are expecting. As in the depressed state, people are not expecting any future experiences unless they are bad. So that is actually for the Christmas, could be an interesting thing to actually count your blessings.
Yeah, because I was going to move on and, you know, as we wrap up, kind of talk about that, because at this time of the year, we're coming to the end of the year, people are kind of reflective by nature, and, you know, it's the end of the decade. Christmas time can be difficult for a lot of people. They're in a, you know, expected to behave in a certain way. You know, as you said, count your blessings. You know, I was actually thinking, I'm going to see my family at Christmas, and well, there's a bit of me thinking, how can I get out as quickly as possible? There's another bit thinking, how fortunate I am to be in a privileged position where I can go and travel and see them, and we're still healthy enough to do it. So any kind of closing thoughts about that?
Well, I think, you know, considering that there are 340 million people around the globe with depressive thoughts and feelings, 20 million people a year commit suicide. 1 in 5 people in the Netherlands alone, where I am, are how do you say that? Are depressed. 1 in 5. A country of 70 million. We have everything we want here.
Yeah.
Everything. But there's still this taboo on our dark side. Well, one of the things that I can really advise is to embrace what you find difficult. Really embrace it as if you're holding your own child. You know, like as if you're comforting your own child. Comfort the difficulty inside yourself, because once you comfort it, it's not, the darkness will not be your boss, but you can actually start to explore what this is about. And then if you count your blessings at the same time, you might start to see a light shift.
Thank you for that. No, I love that. I love the embrace your child piece, because it's, you know, it's about acknowledging and working with it.
Exactly. And also for coaches, you know, there's nothing to be afraid about. Nothing. Because if it's 1 in 5 in the Netherlands, and it's probably in the UK or Ireland or wherever everybody is, you know, it's loads of depressed people. So if we would embrace it, then maybe it would shift a little bit sooner before it can get to this stage.
Vasily, thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to put the video up probably today, and I would love it if you would just put a link to the book. I'll tag you, and if people have questions, to just write comments, and you can be there to respond. So have a wonderful Christmas to you, and I look forward to catching up with you in the new year.
Yeah, definitely. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.